Good morning. There is a strong possibility we're going to get wet today. Something a little bit different again, if it works out. I came up late last night. I was at a hen do last night. Luckily I don't drink very often, so not having a beer was absolutely fine. It all sort of went a little bit wrong. One of the girlies in the party got taken quite ill last night. So I arrived at a little pull-in near Brimham Rocks at about 12:30, and I've arrived now at Studley Royal Deer Park. The little pull-in last night was quite good. The one I'd wanted to go in, there was a lump, and it looked about that big a drop down, and I thought the diesel exhaust on this for the Wallace it restricts my ground clearance. So I pulled a little bit further down the lane. There was another van parked there. Anyway, I digress. It was about 15 minutes to get here. There are 3 other cars in the car park already. As I've come up the entrance into the deer park, I've seen a couple of stags and a couple of smaller herds of deer. And it's raining. Now, they did forecast rain, but it's sort of on and off. So I bought the waterproof camera cover, and we're going to go off and see if we can get some shots of deer. Now, between October and November, I believe it's the rutting season. So I'm hoping I might get some photos of the stags. It would have been fabulous if we'd have got a glorious sunrise and some lovely light, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm quite happy for some darker images. I'm just having a look around. I'm going to do a bit more investigation on the whole rutting season, how long it lasts for. The next weekend is completely out of the equation. I'm at a wedding. After that, I think I'm fairly free, so I might try and come up here again. It's only about 70 miles from home, so it's not too bad. So I'm just going to wait for the light to appear a little bit more, and then I'm going to go for a wander with the camera. I may not be able to do any vlogging. Obviously, with it being wildlife, I've got to be quiet, which I'm not very good at. I always sound like a herd of elephants approaching. So we will see what we can get. And I'll hopefully catch up with you guys in a bit. Right, I'm just hiding behind a tree, watching a herd of deer, and I think there's certainly 2 stags, and I think there might be I don't know if juvenile stags are called juveniles, but certainly his antlers aren't as big as the other 2. And I'm just trying to stay fairly still. One of them's looking at me, so I'm figuring that if I keep still, they'll go back to doing what they were doing, because I don't want to startle the herd. There's another little tree. I'll try and turn you around. I don't know if you can see. I think I might have been spotted. I say, I've been standing here quite quietly, minding my own business. I'm dressed as least colourfully as I can possibly be. I'm wearing black. I suppose green might be better. I just want the 2 that are stood looking towards me to either start eating or turn around, because there's another little tree I'm going to try and go over to. That's it, they're losing interest. This is really difficult. Now I've got the 70-200 on. I did bring the tele converter with me, but I haven't put it on yet. I might have to. And the light is non-existent, and I'm up at ISO 640, which is not ideal. And rather than bring my monopod, I've just turned my tripod into a monopod. I very much doubt you can see this, but over there, there's a herd. Over here, hiding behind those trees, we have a group of stags. Oh God, I wish I could zoom in on this. Now I'm presuming that's the leader of the pack, and one of the other stags was over having a nosy round. And there I presume he's putting on a show of strength for his, the pretenders to the crown. Forgotten how frustrating and difficult wildlife photography can be. I've moved across to a different tree, and there's a herd of fallow deer, and there's an albino one in there, and the stag of the herd is looking at me, so I'm trying to stay incredibly still. I haven't really got the right lens for this. The 70 to 200 I could do with being about 30 foot closer. But they're quite wily beasts, these deers. They head for the trees for shelter because it is raining. But to make sure there's no trees actually near, that people can sneak up or predators can sneak up on them. And everywhere you look, there's photographers with huge lenses. I may well put the tele converter on. I've got a 1.4 I think, and that might just give me a little bit more reach, but I'm already at ISO 640, and because there is no decent light, I'm struggling. I'm going to end up with really grainy photos. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see these. Yeah, you can just see there's a herd of what I presume are red deer over in that direction. Whoops, that direction. Let's see if we can spin you around here. And over in that direction is the herd of fallow deer, which is slowly making their way off somewhere. And in the distance I can hear a stag bellowing. I can't make up my mind if it's one or two. Maybe it's just a little bit early for the rut to have begun in earnest. I keep having to look behind me just in case there's a couple of stags snuck up behind me like they did just now. I really don't fancy being on the pointy end of one of those. This could be the shortest vlog ever, with some very, very bad pictures. I think I am going to try and put the tele converter on and see if that gets me any better. But yes, this is an absolutely amazing little find. And I think I've got a couple of images that I quite like. And say they're very high ISO, but I'm not too concerned. This was more of a recce visit to see how the land lies, to see what's here. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to go and put the kettle on, have a cup of tea, have some breakfast, and then I'm going to wend my way home. As I say, the 1.4 converter works much better, although being at the high ISO is still not brilliant. The 1.4 converter drops me down to a maximum aperture of f4, whereas it's the f2.8 that I have. But that was still bearable. I was still sort of blurring out the background enough to be happy with the images. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!